Alright, welcome to drawing 28 for 3D CAD. And this time we're going to make a screw type object and a clamp body for that screw type object to work inside of. So we're going to make a functioning C-clamp. Sounds scary, but there's not a whole lot here that's new and different. You're only going to have to learn a couple of things. You're going to draw this clamp, nothing superly complex there. Except for the threaded hole, and I'll show you how to do that. You're going to draw this threaded bolt, which is a few little extrusions, circular extrusions. The only thing complicated about this is learning how to draw the thread, and some of the dimensions you need for it are here, and maybe that little kind of dome base at the bottom. If we head on over to the part studio, you can see there's my C-clamp with the threads cut, and there's my bolt with the threads added to it, and a little dome piece at the bottom. So how did I do it? Well, let's back this drawing up. Okay, so as I back it up, I'm noticing, okay, there might be a little bit going on here. But it starts simple enough. You create that sketch. Nothing special in here, some lines, some angles, some fillets. Notice everything is well defined, nothing is blue, yours should be the same. From there we go to the first extrusion. Let me cancel that and hang up on that phone call, which is a spam caller anyway, otherwise they'll leave me a message. There's the extrusion, everything's just square. New sketch. I'm getting ready to put the hole in, and I actually use the hole function this time. You don't have to use the hole function. You can simply extrude and remove material if you want. It was there, so I used it. I just wanted to play with it. If I open it up, I did a simple hole, and I did it blind and just measured a depth. As far as this information here goes, you really don't need a whole lot of this except for the diameter, because we're not using the threads per inch here, and we're not going to show any threads because this hole is tapped. We're not going to counterboard or countersink it, although we could. Very simple. So the hole tool is kind of neat. It does give you some options, but these options only show up in the drawings afterwards. They don't actually show up in the model, so if we tried to add threads this way, it wouldn't work. And they wouldn't show up in the assembly, so it would look like a smooth rod sliding up and down in that clamp, and that just wouldn't look right. So we're going to have to actually model our threads. Anyway, so there's the hole. I then went down and I created a helix. A helix is new. You can see it creates lines running down that I'm going to use for the threads. Now here's how the helix command works. You pick the edge of a hole that you want the helix to run on, a hole or cylinder actually, and you pick how long it's going to run and what the pitch is. Now you'll notice it does some math for us. That currently says 1/6 because I've got it highlighted. But if I click out of there, it says 0.167. That is the pitch we're going to be using. It's just 1/6. So if you type that in, it'll figure the rest of it out for you. Then I created a plane. My plane is right in the starting point here of my helix, so that I could create this sketch. Let me open that up so you can see the dimensions. Okay, this is straight out of the help tutorial. Whoa, that did not do what I was supposed to do. On how to draw threads that I linked, well, back here, how to make screw threads. There's a little video right there. It's like 3 minutes long, maybe. And what it tells you is these should all be equal angles, so this is an equilateral triangle, and your distance here should be a little bit smaller than the pitch. So if you recall, the pitch of the helix was 0.167. So I made my my profile here only 0.16 tall. So there'll be a little bit of a flat spot between each thread, and that's okay. Anyway, I made that, and it's sitting right on the end of the helix. And then I swept it. Let me pull this down and open up the sweep. You've done sweeps, but we've done sweeps to do new and add. This time we're going to do a sweep to remove. And you're just going to select the helix as the curve path. And that will go right down through and cut that profile shape, cut that thread out of this object. So that's how you get the inner threads. Now we go on to extrude number 2. You can see I'm starting to make the cylinder for the bar that's going to go up through we're going to have threads on. And let me go down through next. Okay, I went a little too far. I got a couple of extrusions. That's all right. You can see what's going on here. I changed my mind partway through, so I started to go with this one, and I just decided that was the wrong size, and instead of shortening it and stopping here, which is where I end up stopping it later on, I let it go all the way through, and I don't fix that until much later, but really it only has to go up to the base of this one, and then I could have done another sketch on another circle and gone up from there. So there's always a few different ways to do things. If I go to my next sketch, where is sketch 4? Sketch 4, you're hiding. There you are. Okay, building a little piece up here on top. Another extrusion. Well, let me cancel that. There's our top piece. Another sketch right in the center of this thing. That's going to be the hole that goes through there, so we can add the bar. That's going to be used to rotate this. So there's the symmetrical removal all the way through. At that point, I wanted this to all be one piece, so I just did the Boolean operation, which is this icon here, and I unioned several of my parts already. Then I added another helix, this time running down the outside of that new bar that I had just created. And we're going to repeat the process. We're going to create more threads exactly the same. So I'm going to create a sketch, and the question is, where did I create that sketch? I think it was up top. Oh, let me open the sketch. Oh, there it is. It's at the bottom. Okay, exactly the same size. Let's see if I can get to a better location on here. And I had it set on the bottom of the helix. 0.16, all the angles are equal. And then, as you may have guessed, I swept it again. So, sweep up through. It's going to take a bit because it's generating a lot of new geometry. There we go. There's the original profile. There's all the threads all the way up through as it swept up. Now I just thought that flat profile face right there just didn't look right, and it needed to be chamfered a little bit. I probably could have chamfered it off even more. Waiting. There we go. So I added that little bit of chamfer to the end just to smooth that out, but it's not very big. I probably should have gone bigger. That's okay. That was just for cosmetics. Then we get to another sketch. Let's open up the sketch. There it is. I'm just making that little dome shape to fit on the bottom. If you interact with one of these in real life, what you will notice is that this little dome shape has a hole in it that this passes through, and then this gets mushroomed out on the inside. And what that does is it allows this little dome to pivot just a little bit so it can still clamp surfaces that are slightly uneven. So I'm trying to kind of imitate that setup. And so I'm going to create this, I'm going to spin it, I'm going to cut a hole in it and slide this on. And you'll see that happen here shortly. Let me close that. So there's the revolve. Now I shell it out because what I was looking to do, can't really see it here. Let me keep going. Actually, did I remove the face? Oh, I totally removed the face. Let me not keep going. Let's make this transparent. Okay, you can sort of see what's happening here. I end up moving some parts later. This sticks through too much. But what I did with the shell command is I domed the inside of this a little bit. Because it shouldn't be a perfectly flat thing. It needs to have room for this piece to be mushroomed out inside there a little bit. Anyway, then there's another extrusion. Let me get rid of the transparency. Some more sketches. Not even sure where that sketch is. Oh, there we go, up there. I could have done this lots of different ways. You can probably see what I'm going for here. I'm going to put the last extrusion, put this bar in place, and I just extruded it from the original sketch that was there for the hole. This sketch is about to put the little ball on the end. So if I revolve that, well, first I gotta get out of there. Revolve that ball, got one. I then mirrored it over to the other side. Got two. I then did a chamfer, and I don't even remember where that chamfer is. Is that the one? Yeah, it looks like that was the main chamfer. Yep. So you can see all the edges I selected for that main chamfer all the way up through. Keep coming down. We're almost done. This was me tweaking this just a little bit because I wasn't real happy with it. But I'm happy with the final dimensions you've got, so you shouldn't need to worry about that. You can see I've got a couple of transforms as I moved it around a little bit more, another extrude. More importantly, there's a fillet. Oh, and we're out of time. There's a little fillet that gets added right to the very tip top of this. You know what? I didn't include that in your dimensions. It's okay. That was just there for looks. I'm going to cancel that. Another transform and then another boolean just to join all the parts together that didn't need to be separate, so that I only came into this with 2 parts for my assembly because I didn't want to have to attach all of this stuff. And so that's what I had after modeling. Then I went into assembly. In assembly, there's only one mate connector. Awesome. So the mate connector I used was a cylindrical connector. It is this one right here. It allows revolution, so you can rotate with that, and it allows sliding at the same time. So I picked that, and then I mated that bottom ring. You can see it highlighted in gold there. It was a little tricky to get to. That bottom ring right there, I mated that to the top center of this hole. And that was a little bit easier to get to. Once those two were mated up, that snapped into position and I was able to rotate it freely. I just checked to make sure it worked. Then I just added a screw relationship, and all that wants to know is 2 things. Where's the mate connector that you're going to use? So you literally get to just click on this cylindrical mate feature. And then what is the distance per revolution? Or in other words, what is the pitch? So you match that to the screw threads that you built, and you just type in 1/6, and you've got something. Now for me, I had to reverse direction to get this to operate correctly, so that if it goes right, it's screwing in, and if it goes left, it's screwing out. And if depending on how you build your helix, you may or may not need to reverse your direction. Okay, so I know I didn't draw this and you didn't get to watch every little step because that would be a really long video. This drawing is going to take you a while. But I did walk you through each step, so hopefully that will give you enough that you can make quite a bit of progress on this before you need to ask for help. But if you need to ask for help, please stop and ask for help.